Good morning, Monique Ruffin here with Generation Sex, and I just wanted to touch base this morning. Not really sure what I want to talk about because I have sort of a lot, like a mishmash of stuff going on in there that I wanted to kind of address because I've been thinking about it this morning. And one of the things that's going through my mind is that Mother's Day is coming this weekend. I am a mother. I have a 7-year-old son, and I also was not raised by my mother. I was raised by my grandmother, so I've always had a weird relationship with Mother's Day, just because it sort of always felt out of place around it as a child because my mother wasn't really around, and it was sort of the unspoken thing, like it was the elephant in the room, like Monique's mother isn't around, and the biggest part of it is that my mother wasn't around because she was a prostitute, and there were just so many things about her that were quiet and whispers in my environment. But when I became an adult, I started to sort of reframe those ideas and perspectives about my mother. But as a child, I had a lot of shame about having a mother who wasn't around, who wasn't raising me, who was a prostitute, who was sexual, who was flirty and very sort of womanly. But then also, as the years progressed, because she had shame about her own self and how she made a living, she dealt with that through drug and alcohol use, which became addiction. And so there was also a lot of shame around that, like just there not being the place or the space for there to be mature, loving conversations and acceptance about the choices that my mother made for her life. So instead, there was just a lot of icky stuff around it. And, you know, being Black, American, and Christian, should I add, none of it was acceptable. So I had a lot of shame as a child around my mother's sexuality, my own sexuality, that then translated into sexual shame as an adult. So for me, you know, some of that was just feeling like I should be a certain way and denying my own desires and feeling shameful about my own sexual ideas and really trying really hard to be what the ideal, which was from Christianity, the ideal virtuous woman would be. And that was not a woman who desired, enjoyed, or found pleasure in sex. And so now, as an adult who has realized that that is insanity, it's almost like denying the need to eat. As a matter of fact, it is denying the need to eat. It is the very existence of our being, our sexuality. Everyone is born from it and comes from it. I am really in the process of redefining my own sexual nature, my relationship with my mother, even though she's no longer alive. I'm a part of the Dead Mummies Club, and which is a whole nother conversation. But I am still constantly redefining my relationship with my mother and finding opportunities to forgive myself, to forgive her, to understand her, to celebrate her, and to embody the lessons that I learned from her as a woman. One of the things that was so beautiful about my mother was that she could walk through a room and you could almost hear the sway of her hips. You could hear that, like, her body just sort of swayed in this very sensual, beautiful way. And as a child, I hated that. I hated watching men watch her walk and how she swayed. But as an adult, as a woman, I love that. I love that, and I want more of that. And my prayer is that she would come to me in my dreams and teach me how to sway in the way that she did. And so I am just encouraging myself to embody my sexuality, which is why I write about it at the Huffington Post and Purple Clover and My Tiny Secrets. Just having conversations to create an openness around who we are as sexual beings, that our sexuality is as near to our spirituality as anything is, that it is our connection to God, it is our connection to ourselves, that it is our connection to one another. And it doesn't necessarily have to be an actual sexual connection with another human being, but really just an understanding that we are sexual, beautiful, gorgeous, luscious human beings, men and women, and that sex is beautiful and it can be celebrated and participated in ways that allow us to connect and express the more of who we are and the beauty that exists within us. And so that's going to be it for today. Happy Mother's Day to all those mothers out there. And I just am so pleased always to be here and to grow with you all. And I'd love to hear about your own journeys with sexual shame and getting free and what it means to embody your sexual and sensual natures. Blessings, everyone. Bye-bye.